This collection started with observations, but my observations and the team here, the design team, part of what's happening in the world, actually, maybe one of the only good things about it is it slowed us down a little. We have time to reflect and to really look, and that's basically what's informed everything with this. We're calling the collection Life, and obviously it's such a grand thing, but it can also be very small. It's the tiny parts of life, and to start it off really was exactly what is life like here now. Like my life, the design team, as we're working together, but also everyone else's, and we decided to do a project with Kasper Kauschuk, the photographer. And it was very much trying to capture these little bits of life, the kind of often overlooked, mundane, transient parts, and that the photographs that came from that then became the fundament of the whole collection, but also very much then the print story. Working together, we were putting all the photos up, and in a way, quite quickly and clearly, the framing and putting them together almost became the frame through which we look at life, and that was very much the kind of really important, I guess, angle for us. In one sense, in a really obvious sense, it became almost like a CCTV screen. Like I'm thinking back to kind of the big underground TFL screens where you're viewing everything all at once. But at the same time, then you look in the little image, it's a tiny little part of life that otherwise would be overlooked. It becomes powerful when you're looking at it all together. And this framing and this voyeuristic observing became then the kind of the structure through which then we did everything. And you see these frames again through the patterns, how we're quilting all our outerwear, and then also obviously the kind of the prints on the dresses and the shirts and everything. The transience from the prints and what we were looking at, and it was seeing life in an indirect way through shadows or reflections. This idea of a kind of indirect portrait was again something I absolutely loved. That came from our project, and then the fabrics we chose were very much informed by this. The moleskin and raw denim, waxed cotton, leathers, fabrics that kind of live with you, and that after a while that really kind of show you and exactly, even from the shape of your body to what you do, these really subtle kind of tells, or I mean, in a way it is a portrait, that really felt kind of important to us and honest as well. And not just that, the fabrics, it was obviously the kind of the functionality of these garments that the fabrics are going into. The waxed cotton is rainwear, and obviously one of the looks, this huge bucket hat became really important because this is an autumn-winter collection, and in Stockholm it should be about snow, but with the changing weather patterns, it's completely arbitrary now. I've been here a year and a half, and the first time I saw snow is when we filmed the catwalk on the boat, and so it's very much a deliberate choice, merging the kind of clothes for the warmth and for the elements with things that shouldn't have been there. In Sweden they have this phrase, there is no such thing as bad weather, just bad clothes. So it's very much looking at this and kind of playing with what does that mean now, and the kind of the last kind of summation of that was the film, and and when we filmed it over 2 days, and it was every weather pattern you could have in 2 days. It started with darkness and snow, and it finished with darkness and snow, and in between was glorious sunshine and rain and wind. So it felt really right when we were filming it. It really reflected everything we've been thinking of. And of course, it's a journey on a ferry, which in Stockholm means a commute. It could be commuting from one part to another. What might feel fantastic to somebody else who isn't here is very much commonplace and everyday. It's a million miles from being sandwiched into the Victoria line. In itself, it's beautiful, and so it's just playing with this thing that no one really thinks about here. They just get on the ferry. But what if you then, you make a nostalgic nod to the catwalk none of us can have now, this kind of element of show and fun. And that's kind of, I guess, from the start to the end. We started from something really banal and everyday, which obviously the everyday is changing, and then brought it all the way to something fun. And so the film then becomes a summation of this. It's a summation of everything kind of we see then in the rest of the collection. It's taking something really banal and overlooked and making it fun, and bringing just a bit of enjoyment to it. And I certainly enjoyed making it. And I hope you enjoyed watching. And thanks very much for taking the time to do so.